What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Detroit Lions video. Now, first and foremost, of course, it is Christmas Day. Merry Christmas to all of you. Hope you all had spent time with your family. Hope you all enjoy your Christmas. Hopefully y'all get some cool presents or something you can use throughout the day or throughout the year that can help you out. Hopefully everybody enjoys their Christmas and their holiday breaks. However, even though it is the holiday, even though we're on a break, I'm not taking any days off that I do not have to. And of course, with the Detroit Lions and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers set to face each other in Detroit as soon as tomorrow, we got to get a preview and we got to get some previews. We got to get some, anticipation going. We got to preview this matchup as we do every single week. I'm not going to lie, this matchup kind of snuck up on me. I looked around, I looked at my clock, and all of a sudden it was, Friday morning. So, we got to get a preview in, and that's exactly what we're going to be going over today. Today, we're going to be previewing the Lions versus the Buccaneers, go over each team's strengths, each team weaknesses, go over kind of the scenario and the situation surrounding the football game, and go over and hopefully at the end of the video decide who the winner should be of this football matchup. Now, before we get into talking about Buccaneers versus Detroit Lions, if you are new to the channel and are enjoying this Detroit Lions content, please consider liking the videos and subscribing to the channel. It takes only 2 seconds out of your day to do so. It helps the channel out more than you could know, and I'd be greatly appreciative for it. Consider it your Christmas gift to me. It's free, it's easy, it takes 2 seconds. It'll be the easiest Christmas gift you ever give somebody. So if you could do that, just take those 2 seconds to like and subscribe. I'd be greatly appreciative for it. But without any further ado, let's get into previewing this Week 16 matchup between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Detroit Lions. Now, the Detroit Lions and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are set to match up this Saturday, the first game of the weekend this Saturday at 1 p.m. Now, the Detroit Lions are coming off a very embarrassing loss to the Tennessee Titans, where they did unfortunately lose by a score of 46-25. The game was not that far out of reach for a majority of it. I think the score looks a little bit worse than it actually was. The Lions were very competitive through 3.5 quarters, and in the fourth quarter, near the end, the second half of the fourth quarter, the Tennessee Titans really pulled ahead. They really started to lean on Derrick Henry. Our defense got tired. Stafford got pulled. It was, not the greatest situation for the Detroit Lions, but the score does look, I think, a little bit worse than the game actually was. I thought the Lions were fairly competitive for most of that football game. So the Lions did lose. It was not a very good loss. It was by a lot of points. The Lions were not really ever ahead. They never really felt like they had the momentum. They never really felt like they were going to have a great chance to win the football game, but I did think they were fairly competitive for a lot of the game. Now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are coming off a very big comeback victory versus the Atlanta Falcons. They won by a score of 31-27. As I said, they had a 17-point comeback versus the Atlanta Falcons, but Tom Brady coming back versus the Atlanta Falcons, what else is new? I mean, it happens before, it'll happen again, I'm sure. The Falcons can't seem to hold a lead against Tom Brady. It is what it is. I, as a Lions fan, know exactly what it's like to blow a lot of leads. So Falcons fans, I feel for you, man. I feel for you guys. I know exactly what it's like to blow leads because my team used to do it over and over and over and over again. It's the most frustrating thing in the world. And of course, if you're up by 17, you expect to be winning the football game, but that did not happen. The Buccaneers were able to come back and make it a very intriguing, very close, and very entertaining contest. And in the end, we're able to walk out the victors. Now, looking at the Detroit Lions, kind of going into what they're doing well this season, look at what they do well as an offense and as a team. The strength of this Lions team, as always, is the passing attack, and it is the passing game. Matthew Stafford is coming off a pretty good day in Tennessee where he had, some very good throws, very good deep balls, looked precise, looked clean, looked, direct. He looked very, very clean. He looked very, very good, looked very decisive. He was accurate. He threw the ball well. He had an amazing touchdown pass where he did not even look anywhere in the vicinity of Marvin Jones. I mean, that might have been the most impressive touchdown pass I've ever seen from a quarterback ever. I mean, Matthew Stafford was very good in Tennessee. He got pulled late in the game, partially because of injury, partially because of precaution, stuff like that. So, he's coming off a very good game where he very realistically could have gone for 300 yards, very realistically could have had a couple more touchdown passes, very realistically could have got the Lions back in the football game, but at the time they pulled him, it wasn't looking very good. The defense wasn't getting any stops, so they decided to pull him out early. However, even, outside of just last week, the Detroit Lions are a very good passing passing attack, and they are a top 12, top 10 borderline passing attack in the NFL. Right now in the NFL season, the Detroit Lions do have 3,703 passing yards, ranking 7th in the league, with 24 passing touchdowns, ranking 15th. So they are a very good passing offense all around. When you have Matt Stafford as your quarterback, no matter who your wide receivers are, no matter who is dropping passes for your team, no matter if your team leads the NFL in drops, you're still going to have a good passing attack. Matthew Stafford is just that good of a quarterback that he's going to elevate the guys around him, especially in the receiving game, especially in the receiving core. And even with all the drops and all the problems that this receiving core has had for the Detroit Lions, they are still 7th in passing yards and 15th in passing touchdowns on the season. Obviously could be much higher if the drops went down just a little bit, but I digress. Now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers don't have the greatest passing defense as well, so I think that's another thing the Lions can play to as a strength. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now on the NFL season have allowed 3,574 passing yards, ranking the 25th passing defense in the NFL. Now, they've also allowed 27 passing touchdowns on the NFL season, ranking 23rd. So, I mean, we're going against not a great Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense, while Matthew Stafford and the Detroit Lions have a top passing offense in the NFL, coming off a really good stretch of games where he's looked really good pretty much since the Chicago game. And this Tampa Bay Buccaneers is probably the worst passing defense, or right there with the worst passing defense that Stafford has played since Darrell Bevell has become the interim head coach. You know, Chicago was better, Green Bay was better. I would even say Tennessee was slightly better in the passing game and the passing defense. So, I mean, Matthew Stafford has been hot the last couple of weeks. The Lions already have a very good passing attack, and the Buccaneers don't necessarily have the greatest passing defense as far as statistically, as far as numbers, as far as all of that. So I think that is something the Lions can look to this weekend. I think that is something the Lions can look to as an advantage for themselves. Our passing attack versus the Buccaneers secondary seems to be a very favorable matchup for the Detroit Lions, especially with Stafford being hot, especially with him being healthy and ready to go. I think he could have a very good day versus this Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. And I think that if we are going to win this football game, if the Lions are going to try to go out and make plays, and if they're going to try to get a victory this Saturday, I think it is going to have to be on the shoulders of Matthew Stafford, because again, he's been hot, he's been on, he's been, very confident, very decisive, very accurate, very good thrown footballs by Matt Stafford the past couple of weeks. And I think if we can continue that streak, I think if he can come in healthy, come in, get in a rhythm early, I think we can see another very good passing day by our quarterback. Now, of course, the biggest concern for this game as far as the Detroit Lions offense and the Detroit Lions in general is the coaching staff mismanagement, the coaching staff situation that we are dealing with. I mentioned yesterday that the Lions had a COVID outbreak in their organization. A lot of our coaches aren't going to be there, including Darrell Bevell, our interim head coach, as well as Corey Unlin, our defensive coordinator. And of course, Brandon Coombs was fired the other day for that rogue fake punt play or whatever happened. I'm not going to go into that. I'm not going to get into that right now. But the Detroit Lions are without many of their coaches, many on the defensive side of the ball, and they are without every single play caller that they had going into the NFL season. Now, Robert Prince is going to be the interim head coach for this game. He's going to get an opportunity to be the head coach. He's a good guy. He's a great wide receivers coach. He's coached some of the best wide receivers in the NFL. I mean, he coached Megatron. He coached Kenny Galladay. He's coached Marvin Jones. He's worked with a lot of really good wide receivers. He's developed a lot of really good wide receivers. He has a lot of energy. It's infectious. Guys love playing for him. Guys love working with him. So I do think that, from that standpoint, the energy in the building, then the energy surrounding this team should not change. But we will be very interesting to see. Obviously, we're without our defensive corner, we're without our offensive play callers. I mean, we're going to have a lot of different coaches, and we're going to have a lot of different people calling plays for this Detroit Lions team this week. And I think that's going to be the big story of this game, is how can these coaches adjust? How can these new guys that have never called plays, that have never been coordinators, that have never been head coaches, how are they going to come in and call the football game? How are they going to come in and call a game? How influential will the players be? How influential will the coaches be? How influential will the head coach be? All of these things are questions that need to be answered during this football game, and I think that's going to be the biggest storyline of this game. Now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense is not a horrible defense overall. I mentioned that they have the 25th most passing yards allowed and the 23rd most touchdowns allowed. So, I mean, they're not a great passing defense from that standpoint, but they do get a lot of turnovers as a defense. I believe they rank 8th ninth in the NFL right now in turnovers forced with 21 turnovers. So statistically, yardage-wise and touchdowns-wise, they're not great in the air, but as a defense, they do force a lot of turnovers and do get the ball back to that absolute gauntlet of a Buccaneers offense. Now, of course, if you think of Tampa Bay this year, if you think of TB in the Buccaneers, that does not stand for Tampa Bay in the 2020 season. That stands for Tom Brady. Of course, Tom Brady was the big name free agent that came over from the New England Patriots this year. The GOAT, everybody knows Tom Brady. If you ask some random dude on the street who's Tom Brady, he's going to tell you the greatest quarterback of all time. I mean, Tom Brady is still playing at a very high level, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense is thriving as a result. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense currently on the NFL season has 3,758 passing yards, which ranks 6th in the NFL, along with 32 passing touchdowns, which ranks 5th in the NFL. They are a top 10, top 5 borderline passing offense in the NFL. They're very good. They do not turn the ball over a lot. All these different weapons, they got Brady, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, OJ Howard, Gronkowski, all of the top weapons on the team. And then you even go to the role players. You even go to the guys that aren't necessarily the big names, the big franchise icons, but still guys that are competing, still guys that are contributing to the team huge. They're still contributing a lot to this Buccaneers team. You got Scott Miller, who's a good receiver. You have, Cameron Brate, who's a good tight end, Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones, Tyler Johnson. All of these guys are impact players, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers might have the deepest weapons, arsenal in the NFL. They might have the deepest roster as far as weapons in the NFL, because, if you go through how many guys, how many teams in the NFL can say they have, a Mike Evans, a Chris Godwin, an Antonio Brown, an OJ Howard, a Gronkowski, Scott Miller, Cameron Brate, Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones, Tyler Johnson, and more players. Those are not even all the weapons that Tampa Bay has, but those are just the big names. Those are just the big contributors to the team. And as far as this Detroit Lions defense, they're not playing very well. They did not play very well last week. They played okay versus Green Bay, but still gave up a lot of points and a lot of yards, and they gave up a lot of bad plays on third down especially. So with all of this success that this Tampa Bay offense has had, along with all of the injuries that this Lions team has sustained, along with the level of play they are currently at right now, and the fact that they're going to have a first-time play caller calling against the greatest quarterback of all time, and arguably one of the most talented offenses of all time, it's just a recipe for disaster. It's not looking very good for the Lions defense. Hopefully they can step up. Hopefully we can bring in Julian Okwara and he can get some sacks. Hopefully we can bring in some other guys. Everson Griffin is supposed to be back. Danny Shelton is practicing again. We're getting a couple of guys back here and there as the week goes on and as the season comes to a close. But, how many guys in the NFL, how many teams can cover all of these weapons on the offense? It's a loaded offense. There are so many weapons surrounding Tom Brady. There are so many things helping Tom out. The system doesn't necessarily help Tom Brady the most. I don't think that this team has necessarily meshed as well as it could have starting the season. I don't think it's as tightly knit. I don't think it's as organized and as clean as it could be as of right now. But still, even, if it's not the most complete unit, right? Or not the most complete. Even if it's not the most bonded unit, even if they're not the most, or not the best at playing together as a football team, they have so much talent on the roster, it doesn't even matter. They're 9-5 without really being that close of a team. They're 9-5 without really playing that cohesive of football together. And truly, to me, I think this Buccaneers team, if they were to mesh, if they were to bond, and if they were to play together a little bit better, I think this team could be the best team in the NFL. I truly do. I think it's one of the most talented teams in the NFL, and right now, I truly think that they're winning just based off their talent, more so than their ability to play as a team and to play together. And it's not just the offensive side of the ball that's loaded for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You go over to the defensive side, and statistically, they're not the greatest defense in the NFL, right? They have the 25th passing defense in the NFL. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have the 29th rushing offense in the NFL, but even struggling in many, many categories and many statistical places that the Lions should be able to take advantage of. You look at this roster player by player, you go down the list, and they have so many players. I mentioned all the offensive players that this Buccaneers team has. You go over to the defensive side of the football, they have guys like, Devin White, Levante David, Antoine Winfield Jr., Sean Murphy Bunting, Shaq Barrett, Ndamukong Suh, Jason Pierre-Paul, Vita Vea, along with many, many more players on that defense that are role players, that are impact players, that are starters, that are good NFL players on this Tampa Bay roster. This Tampa Bay team is loaded, and they're not dealing with that many injuries right now. The Lions are, not gonna lie, I'm not gonna sugarcoat this. The Lions are in trouble this weekend. They do not have a coach. Why the NFL can't push the game back to Sunday, I do not understand. The NFL, as much as I love the NFL, as much as I enjoy watching football and all of that, it truly seems like they are a little bit biased towards the good teams. Lamar Jackson gets COVID, their whole Thanksgiving game games gets pushed back 6 days to Wednesday afternoon. The Denver Broncos don't have a quarterback to play. Well, too bad. You got to play with, your running back at quarterback. You got to play with a wide receiver, practice squad wide receiver at quarterback. The Pittsburgh Steelers, oh, you got COVID? Oh, we'll push your games back a little bit. That's totally fine. Oh, Detroit, you don't have any coaches for the football game? That's tough. You got to play without your coaches. This is going to be a little bit of a rant, and I apologize, but why did the Detroit Lions not get the same treatment that the Pittsburgh Steelers get, that the Baltimore Ravens get? The Baltimore Ravens were missing one single player in Lamar Jackson because he had COVID or because he tested positive or because he was linked to contact tracing or whatever it was. Their game got pushed back a whole week. The Detroit Lions are asking for 1 day. They're asking to play on Sunday when they were originally supposed to play the game, and we got told no. We got told we can't move the football game. We can't do that. We can't move the game. It's too late. It's this. It's that. It's whatever. That's not okay. The Detroit Lions, as much as we say the rest versus the Lions, the NFL versus the Lions, Detroit versus everybody, all of that, it's very ridiculous to me, at least, that we're asking for 1 day, because if we were to play on Sunday, all of our coaches would be there. If we were to coach, or if we were to play the game on Sunday, if we were to move it back even just 24 hours and play at 1 p.m. on Sunday when the game was originally scheduled, Darrell Bevell would be there, Corey Undlin would be there, all of our positional coaches would be there. We would be a much stronger team with all of our head coaches. Obviously, that's why they're the head coaches. That's why they're the coordinators. That's why they're the play callers, because they're the best to do it for the Lions right now. And the Lions just don't have the same opportunities that other teams get. And I don't understand it. But again, I don't know how much of a difference it would make, because again, this Tampa Bay team is loaded. This Buccaneers team is very, 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 very good. And I have to emphasize with another very, they have so many weapons. They have so many good, talented players that are being used well, that are being utilized, that are playing to their best and the highest potential that they can. And to be totally honest, I don't have a lot of faith for this game. A lot of people want the Lions to lose anyway. I don't think this is going to be the game that they upset. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are simply too good of a football team. I think they're simply too talented. And of course, without all of our coaches and without a majority of our coaching staff, it will be very tough to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers anyway. And without our coaching staff, without our play callers, without all the people that are familiar with calling plays for this team, it could get very ugly very quickly in Detroit tomorrow. The last thing I want to mention about this game, and the biggest thing I think the Lions will have to deal with, I mentioned this earlier, is the coaching staff. The Lions aren't playing the Buccaneers this weekend. The Lions are playing themselves. The Lions have to see how good can this team be, with controversy, right? How good can this team be with a first-time play caller? How influential will Matthew Stafford be in the play calling? He's been the longest tenured player in this offense by a long, long way. How he's been the most tenured player in this organization for a long time outside of Don Muhlbach. Like, he's been here the longest. He's been in this offense the longest. He knows this offense the best. How influential will he be? How influential will other players be when it comes to the play calling and the plays being ran? It will be very interesting to see how the Lions handle this situation without their coaches. Will Matt Stafford have an influence on the play calling? Will guys in the defense have an influence on the play calling, like Jared Davis or Jamie Collins or maybe even Deron Harmon? Will those guys be influential on the play calling? How is this going to work? How are these coaches going to do in their first time versus a very good Buccaneers team? I think this game will be very interesting from a lot of different standpoints, and I don't think it will be interesting as the point of it'll be a close game and the Lions will come down to the final wire and maybe have a chance to win it, but I do think it'll be very interesting to see how we handle this controversy, how we handle this very unique situation that the Lions have been put in, how this team rallies around their third interim head coach of the NFL season, how they rally around all their first-time coaches and first-time play callers, how well will they play, how well will the rookies play, how will they handle the rest of the season now that they're officially eliminated from playoffs. There are a lot of things to look for in this game. There's a lot of things to look for on how the Lions will handle this football game. And it might not be the most interesting game from a scoring perspective. The Lions likely will not win this football game, but I do think there's a lot to look forward to and a lot to look for in this game. And I do think there will be a lot of takeaways come Sunday afternoon when we do the recap video for Week 16. Now, with all that being said, that is all I got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think about this matchup in the comments below. Do you think the Lions maybe have a chance to upset the Buccaneers, or do you think it's pretty set in stone that the Detroit Lions will fall to 5 and 10 at this point? Let me know that down in the comments below. But with all of that being said, that is all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. If you are new to the channel, as I said in the beginning, please consider liking the videos and subscribing to the channel. It takes 2 seconds out of your day, helps me out more than you could know. I'd be greatly appreciative for it. But with all that being said, that is all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you all tomorrow with more Lions content. Thank y'all for watching. Bye, guys.